The rain poured down that night, tapping hard against the windshield like restless fingers drumming out a warning. Jack, a single dad who drove nights to make ends meet, gripped the steering wheel of his aging sedan. His eyes were tired, his back ached from long shifts, but his thoughts were always on his little girl asleep at home, dreaming, hopefully, of something brighter than the struggles he faced every day. It was close to midnight when his phone pinged with another ride request. The name read Claire, a downtown pickup. He sighed but accepted. Every fare mattered, every dollar pulled them closer to rent, closer to food on the table, closer to keeping the lights on. When he pulled up outside the dimly lit bar, she was already there, Claire, maybe late 20s, tall, smartly dressed, though her makeup was smudged from tears or maybe rain. She slid into the back seat without looking at him. He caught the faint smell of perfume mixed with whiskey. "You okay?" Jack asked gently. "I can handle myself," she said sharply, her eyes staring out the window. Her voice was steady, but her shaking hands betrayed her. Jack didn't press. He'd driven enough people to know when not to pry. Instead, he drove in silence, the wipers cutting across the glass in rhythm with the storm. The address she gave was strange, an alleyway behind a row of shuttered shops. He slowed, frowning. The street was too dark, too quiet. A place that swallowed sound. "You sure this is it?" he asked. "Yes," she snapped, more anxious now. "Just drop me off here." But as Jack's headlights cut across the mouth of the alley, he saw it. A shadow. Someone was waiting. Not the kind of waiting that was patient or kind. The kind of waiting that curled itself in darkness, hunched, deliberate, dangerous. His chest tightened. He knew that stance. The way men loitered in the dark corners of his old neighborhood when he was a boy. Nothing good came of it. Jack slowed the car but didn't unlock the doors. "Listen," he said quietly, "I don't think you should go down there." Claire's face hardened. "I told you, I can handle myself. I don't need some driver telling me how to live my life." Jack swallowed, torn. He thought of his daughter. What if someday she were in this woman's place? Would he want someone to let her walk straight into danger? Or would he want a stranger to care enough to intervene? "I know you're strong," Jack said softly, his eyes never leaving the shadow that shifted at the alley's edge. "But strength isn't about walking into trouble. It's about knowing when you deserve better." For the first time, Claire looked at him, her bravado cracking. There was pain in her eyes, layers of it, betrayal, heartbreak, exhaustion. She wasn't just walking into an alley. She was walking back into someone's control, someone's grip. Jack leaned closer, lowering his voice. "I'm not your enemy. I've been where you are, thinking I had to survive alone. But you're not alone right now. Please, let me take you somewhere safe." The words hung heavy in the air. Claire's breathing quickened. And then, just as the shadow began moving toward them, she whispered, "Drive." Jack didn't hesitate. He pressed the gas, pulling away from the alley. In the rearview, the shadow stepped into the dim light. A man, broad-shouldered, scowling, his hand hidden in his jacket. Claire let out a shaky sob, covering her mouth. They drove in silence for a while. Then she spoke, her voice breaking. "That was my ex. He said if I didn't come back, he'd make sure I regretted it." Jack's grip on the wheel tightened. He thought of his daughter again, of promises he'd made never to let her grow up thinking she had to bow to fear. "You don't owe him your life," Jack said firmly. "You owe yourself freedom. And, maybe, a chance at kindness." Tears spilled down her cheeks. For once, she didn't argue. She gave him a new address, her sister's house across town. When they pulled up, the porch light flicked on. A woman rushed out, wrapping Claire in her arms. Jack watched the weight lift from her shoulders, just a little. Claire turned back to him, her eyes red but grateful. "You didn't have to stop me. You didn't have to care." Jack smiled faintly, though his heart ached. "One day, someone might need to do the same for my little girl. I just hope they don't look away." For the first time that night, Claire smiled, a broken smile, but real. She nodded, whispering, "Thank you." Jack drove off into the rain, the echo of her words following him home. And though he was just a tired driver, just a single dad trying to make ends meet, that night he knew he had made a difference. Sometimes kindness isn't loud. It's quiet. It's stopping for someone who says, "I can handle myself," and gently showing them they don't have to. And maybe, just maybe, that kind of kindness is what saves lives. So if this story touched your heart, remember, sometimes the smallest act of courage changes everything. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us, humanity still exists.